12.3 Measures of Central Tendency. You've been doing this for such a long time. Now we're just putting a name to what we've been doing. So, an average is a number that is representative of a group of data. There are at least 4 different averages: the mean, the median, the mode, and the mid-range. Each is calculated differently and may yield different results from the same set of data. Each will result in a number near the center of the data. For this reason, averages are commonly referred to as measures of central tendency. So, when we say the average, our brain usually thinks of the mean, where we add everything up and divide by that number. But average is an umbrella term. So average means mean, median, mode, and mid-range. So the mean, or arithmetic mean, the mean, x with a little bar on top, it's actually called bar x. So this thing right here, it's called bar x, is the sum of the data divided by the number of pieces of data. The formula for calculating the mean is bar x equals sum of x over m, where sum of x represents the sum of all the data, and n represents the number of pieces of data. And so that's what we're doing, that we add up all the numbers and then divide by how many numbers we have. So this little thing right here, it just means sum, just means add. That's all. I'm not good at drawing it. Anyways, it just means to add. Median. The median is the value in the middle of the set of ranked data, so the median is just the middle. The mode is the piece of data that occurs most frequently, so the mode is the number that repeats the most. Mid-range is the value halfway between the lowest L and the highest H values in the set of data, so mid-range is just lowest value plus highest value divided by 2. Alright, let's go ahead and find the mean, median, mode, and mid-range. First things first, let's find that mean. So the mean, which just means bar x, and that formula is summation of x over n. So all that means is add up all the numbers. So we add up all the numbers and then divide by how many numbers there are. There are 8 numbers. So we add up all the numbers to get 106 over 8, which is 13.25. So that's the mean. Now let's find the median. So the median is the one that's in the middle. So the one in the middle, how do we know that? Well, we have to put it in order. So let's go ahead and put it in order. When we do, we have 9, 11, 11, 12, 14, 16, 16, 17. And then all we do is just find the one in the middle. So I like to just cancel out as we go along. So those 2 go away, these 2 go away, these 2 go away. So it's somewhere in between 12 and 14. So if it's an in between, remember we have to add them up to find what's in the middle. So we add them up, 26 divided by 2, and 13 is in the middle. I mean, we didn't really need to use math for that, because we know what number is between 12 and 14. Well, it's 13, but I just wanted to show you if it's like a weird number or you don't know. You take the 2 numbers that are in the middle, and you add them and divide by 2. Alright, the mode is the one that repeats the most. So the number that repeats the most, 11 repeats 2 times, and 16 repeats 2 times. So the mode is 11 and 16. Now we have to find our mid-range. So mid-range, that's highest plus lowest divide by 2. So the highest number in our data is 17. The lowest number in our data is 9. So we add those up and divide by 2. We do 26 divided by 2, which is 13. That's just a coincidence. That's the same thing as the median. They do not mean the same thing. The median is the middle. the direct middle. The mid-range is the middle of the spread of the data. All right, measures of position. Measures of position are often used to make comparisons. Two measures of position are percentiles and quartiles. You've heard of percentiles before in your state testing. They'll say like you're in the 70th percentile. Now you'll know what that actually means if you never knew. There are 99 percentiles dividing a set of data into 100 equal parts. A score in the nth percentile means that you outperformed about n% of the population who took that test, and that 100 minus n% of the people taking the test performed better than you did. So if you said you scored in the 70th percentile, that means you did better than 70% of those people who took the test. That's what that means. But it also means 30% of the people who took the test did better than you. Quartiles divide data into 4 equal parts. The first quartile is the value that is higher than about 1/4 or 25% of the population. It is the same as the 25th percentile. The second quartile is the value that is higher than about half of the population and is the same as the 50th percentile or the median. The third quartile is the value that is higher than 3/4 of the population, and it is the same as the 75th percentile. So here's a picture of what that actually represents, and this is how we figure out what our quartiles are. So to figure out what our quartiles are, I'm just going to show you. Finding quartiles. Electronics World is concerned about the high turnover of its sales staff. A survey was done to determine how long in months the sales staff had been in their current positions. The responses of 27 sales staff follow, determining Q1, Q2, Q3. So we're going to figure out what's our first quartile, our second, and our third quartile. So the first thing we do is put our numbers in order. Alright, since I'm not editing this video, I would normally edit me writing all that, but I'm not editing it, so just sit there and write it with me. So we put it in order, and our first thing we want to do is find quartile 2. Q2 is the middle, so we can easily find the middle. So use your thumbs and pretend these are my thumbs. I'll cover 2 at a time and then work my way in. Okay, so if you do that, if you work your way in, you'll see that the middle is 17. So our middle is 17, that means Q2 is 17. Alright, now let's go ahead and find Q1. So Q1 is the middle. Oh, my bad. It's the first number to the middle. So you look at the first number to the middle, then find the median. So we're going to be looking 2 through 17. We're going to find the middle between 2 and 17. Alright, so to do that, we start not directly at the middle, but right before it. So we just start canceling out. Use your thumbs to do so. So you just keep doing that, and then you get the middle is 9. So Q1 is 9. And then our last that we need to find is Q3. So Q3 is kind of like the opposite of Q1. So we go from Q3 is the middle of 17 and the last number. So we're going from here to here, and we just cancel out as we go. And the middle of that part, that number is 24. So Q3 is 24. Alright, so maybe now if I read those directions, it'll make a little more sense. So you order the data from smallest to largest. You find the median or second quartile of the set of data. If there are an odd number of pieces of data, the median is the middle value. If there are an even number of pieces of data, the median will be halfway between the two middle pieces of data. So find the middle. Then the first quartile, Q1, is the median of the lower half of data. That is, Q1 is the median of the data less than Q2. The third quartile, Q3, is the median of the upper half of the data. That is, Q3 is the median of the data greater than Q2. So maybe that, now that after I read that, it kind of makes sense. But if not, just follow the directions down on your screen.